Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
All right, sister, let's talk about change, because change happens. You know, it is that inevitable thing that is always going to be there. It's always going to be there. And the more that we resist that, the more that we flip into suffering, right? Thinking that change shouldn't be there. If it just like stayed this way, you know how if you're a parent, you'll understand this as well too, or you can even just be an auntie or friends that have kids, you've heard this. But there'll be times as a parent, well, we'll kind of be like, oh man, I just want my kids to stay this age, this size. Can they still keep, we look at our little guy Kai, and he'll be 6 in a couple months, and he still is doing that thing, you know, where the R's are W's, like they're pronounced that way. Like it's so friggin' cute, you know. And we're just like, can he just please keep talking this way forever, because it is so cute. Can that little boy voice just stay that way forever? Because that would be just awesome, right? But of course, no, there's going to be change, right? Kids are growing, they're changing. Voices will deepen at some point, like all that. He's going to, you know, the R's is W's will change. But it is inevitable. We know when something like the growth of our children, that's going to change, right? It's going to happen. But we can take a look at this in other parts too, like other relationships, or the relationship we have to ourself, or seeing ourself, or, you know, if you've ever gone through, and I'm going to make a big old jump right now, sister, and like if you listen to this podcast, you most likely have gone through periods of growth in your life, or are currently going through, or are looking for the next, not looking for the next thing, but you know, you're feeling this, like you becoming a different person, or you learning and changing, and you know, and it's kind of like maybe you have a group of friends, or, you know, a family that are kind of like, wow, you've really changed, right? And perhaps aren't that pleased with it. And we won't even like, that's their stuff. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's lessons for them, right? But there'll be times then that maybe we get that response back and we go, oh, they're saying I'm changed. Like somehow it's not a good thing. You know how like people will say at times if they hadn't seen somebody for a while, and they mean it like in a really positive way, but they're kind of like, oh, you haven't changed a single thing. Like you haven't changed at all. For me, if someone was to say that to me, that would be like an insult. I know it wouldn't be, you know, said with that intention. I know what they're saying is like maybe you haven't aged, you know, you haven't really aged much, or you've aged well, or, you know, it comes from a really loving space. But like, no, change is inevitable. If I haven't changed, if I'm the same as I was like from high school or something at the age of 50, no, not good. Not good. Change is inevitable. We are delivered these series of obstacles, challenges, problems, tests, whatever word, you know, is the flavor for you, for a reason. For us to grow, for us to learn, for us to shift, for us to change, for us to begin to really remember who we are. Because we've forgotten. And this is why then for you, sister, if you are at this place where you feel like, God, I don't really know who I am. Well, that's because this is part of the process, right? Or you felt like this was me like a year and a half ago. I felt like I knew who I was, and suddenly it was like, yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea. And if you've been following the podcast for a while, the podcast has been out almost 4 years now. It'll be 4 years in August of 2019. Then you will have been on this journey with me. And if you haven't, you can go back and listen. But, and even those that have been there from the beginning of the podcast, and they go like, man, Karen, like you've really changed. Yes. And thank you. Yes, and thank you. You know, even the whole message has really, really shifted. because I have. And listen, this is not to like pat myself on the back and go, oh, I'm so somehow spiritually aligned and look at me, I'm what do the kids say now? I'm so woke. Like, no, that's not it. No. And I'm gonna encourage you not to come from that space, because by the way, that is ego. That is your small self speaking, right? That's comparing to others. Like, just let that stuff go. Everybody's on their own journey, man. Really. It's all happening the way that it is. But the more that we try to push away change happening, the more we're going to keep being presented with challenges with change. Like, that doesn't really sound that right. Let me word that a different way. I'm going to invite you to begin to accept change in your life and to see it as a beautiful thing and not a white knuckle trying to hold on to the way things were or the past or what you think it should be or how you should be, like all of that, right? Change is an inevitable process. Look at nature, right? Look at nature. Trees, like right now, it's June. I live in Victoria, BC, Canada. Beautiful here on Vancouver Island. Everything's super, well, it's pretty green most of the year round, to be quite honest with you, because we don't really get snow, and there's a little bit more of a rainy season come the kind of winter months, but everything's like green and like everything's blooming, right? Regardless of where you live in the world, for most of us, this is spring and we're moving into summer right now, where everything is just like beautiful and the flowers are out and fruit trees are starting to kind of like blossom and everything's coming alive, right? And then come towards the end of the summer, we get a lot of sun, and so the lawns will look maybe a little bit more yellowish. I remember when we used to live in California, went to chiropractic college there, and they would talk about I don't know if this is true. If you live in California, someone message me and go, is this true or is this just a thing? Okay? The reason why it was called like the Golden State, or they would talk about the Golden Hills and stuff like that, is because come like the summer, that the grass is just like yellow, right? Because of all the sun. Like, that's just kind of part of everything's kind of dried out a little bit. California would often have droughts. There would be water restrictions, all this kind of stuff. So it's like, whatever, like, it's yellow. It's going to come back again, right? And then it would regenerate. And then come the fall, for a lot of us, when we have 4 seasons, well, then we start to, the leaves start to change color, and then they drop off, right? And then if there's winter, depending on if you have snow or not snow, and then everything thaws and melts and comes back to life again, right? So there's this cycle of things are constantly in change in nature. Things are constantly in that place within us too. And, thinking that somehow it's like, okay, well, once I get to there, right? And whatever that is for you. For some of you, it's like, once I get married, once I have kids, once I get the job, once we move to this place, once I lose the weight, once I figure out the business piece, once I want, that somehow that your happiness, your joy, your like, now I can relax, is there. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to get there, and then you'll go, oh, right, now here's the next thing being presented to me. You can still celebrate it. Listen, you can be like, oh my God, I got to there. This is awesome. This is great. But if you suddenly now think that, okay, now I can just coast, right? Now I can just coast. Well, this will be people that that never really change, right? They're just kind of in that same place. And that might be where they want to be. That might be where they're just like, I am content right here. I don't want change. But there is no growth. There is no movement forward. There is no, like, really the juice of life. If you don't give yourself permission to lean into the change. I was going to call this podcast episode Change Happens, but yeah, lean into the change. Lean into the change. Lean into it. This is true, but I don't know whoever said this, but you've heard this saying before, the more that you resist persists, right? There's a way that we can choose to frame things, see things, put meaning towards things, see them in a certain way, which makes it all distorted, right? And for you right now, this may be the case, that you're seeing change in that distortion, like it's bad, right? It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. But that is a natural cycle that goes through. And you know what? Here's the thing too. Because if we have this meaning, we have this expectation, or we have this like attachment to what that change is going to look like it is blocking us from being able to see a particular path. It is blocking you from being able to receive certain messages and knowings and feelings. And yes, even sometimes visions, things that you see. It is not allowing you to see the path to your higher self if you have this attachment to how you think that things are supposed to go down in your life or in a particular situation. You won't be able to see. And here's something that I found to be so true with my clients that I coach, and even in my own personal life, is like, now it's hard, right? It's hard to unattach sometimes to those things that we just feel, well, it's got to be this way. And if it's not this way, like, you know, life will be over, or life will suck, or I will be miserable, or this and that thing will happen. But if you can just choose, because it is a choice, right? To be like, all right, I'm going to be my courage right now, and I'm going to choose just to unattach from it. Because again, here's the most beautiful thing. You ready for this, sister? You ready? If you can choose, decide, claim to unattach, like declare that, often the thing that you're presented with is able to appear that's like better than you can even fucking imagine. This is what I found to be true. It can be better than you imagine. But if you are so attached to it's got to look this way, be this way, turn out this way, it's like you'll never be able to be shown these other ways that, again, could be so much better than you can imagine your one way. Isn't that crazy? Unattach. Drop the expectations. Let go of your need to control everything. Listen, we're all control freaks at some level, at some point in our lives, or it's a continuing theme. So I get it. And I get it when life feels so out of control that you will find any little piece of trying to have control. A lot of people that have eating disorders, that becomes, it's not about the food, it's not about the body stuff. I mean, there can be that too, but it's like this need to feel like you have control in some piece in your life, right? So here's your more tip. Holy shit, we talked about a lot of stuff here today. Hey, here's your more tip for today. Open up your journal, and here's what I want you to write. At the top of the page, write this. The change I am currently resisting in my life is, and write down what that is and the reasons why that you were resisting it. And then when you're done with that, and just kind of free write, like just kind of go, this is for you, sister, by the way, right? And when some of you had said to me like, oh, I don't know, like, am I journaling right? And I'm like, there's no, like, just like, let it come out of you, right? Let it come out of you. And then the second piece is going to be this. The new way I can choose to see this change is, and then begin to just free write that, okay? There's something really beautiful when we organically pen to paper and allow these thoughts and feelings to flow out of us. When we just spin it in our head, we just go nowhere except just stuck on this merry-go-round of insanity, right? But if you can get that out and you can see that, you get it out, you can actually feel those feelings and see things, well, this is where the clarity comes from, sister. It doesn't come from spinning it in your head, doing a Facebook poll about it, or asking 5 million friends. Your answers are within you. They're in there. Like, you're built with all this incredible equipment. This wisdom, this book of truth, which is within you. You just have forgotten that it's there. And so tap into that knowing, that intuition, the stuff that's coming out of you. Don't question it. Don't put any labels around it when you're journaling. Don't think it's supposed to look a certain way. Just allow it to come out of you, sister. And the clarity will come over time. And you can begin to see change as such a beautiful thing. You really can. You really can. So finishing up, sister, there are two one-on-one coaching spots for this summer with me into June, July, and August. Actually spilling into a little bit of September now, with us moving into about middle of June right now. And so who is this for? Well, this is for women that are at a crisis point in their life. They feel like everything is falling apart. They're breaking down. They are finding that the same things they used to do are not getting the results that they want in any area of their life, relationships, marriage, partnership, parenting, business, health, all of it. Really women that are looking to align back to who they fully are, and they're finding themselves just repeating patterns over and over and over, not feeling what is it like to be really in this feminine space, like for me to be in my feminine, what is that? And are feeling just not worthy of the things that they really want within their life, and have hit a wall where they're like, enough. It is time for me to really begin to turn this around. And not like you're going to force it or anything like this, but just like, okay, I'm going to allow myself to really receive and to understand who I am, to be shown the way of how I need to move through this, and to come through the other side in these 3 months, a completely different woman. Yes, a changed woman. It's my segue into the topic today. In the most beautiful way, and for you to really begin to remember who you are again, back in alignment with your beautiful power of who you are as a woman, moving through your life and knowing that you're worthy of every fucking thing that you desire and want. Yes. I'm going to affirm that with yes. So if this is you, sister, here's what I want you to do. These 2 spots are by application, and they're going to go in the next couple of weeks. So I want you to email me, drkarenosburn@gmail.com. So drkarenosburn@gmail.com. And I will send you the application form and let you know further instructions from there. And I have a lot of applications coming in right now. So if you are really feeling this, sister, in your heart, don't have to worry about the how and will I be accepted and how's this, like, just put that all aside and just go with your heart. I'm going to invite you to go with your heart if this is really what you're feeling, and claim this opportunity for you. So email me, drkarenosburn@gmail.com, and say, hey, Karen, I'd like to apply for one of those 2 final spots, and we will begin the conversation. So I will talk to the next episode, sister. A life of more is one step away from you understanding that change is okay. And it's going to happen, and it is a beautiful thing.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosburn.com/newsletter.